journey to a healthier, stronger you begins with a single step. Martial arts isn't just about self-defense. It's about confidence, movement, and balance. The Foundations of Martial Arts course is designed for beginners, helping you build strength, improve focus, and develop discipline, one movement at a time. Start your journey today. Your strongest self is waiting. Welcome to this class, which is the Foundations of Martial Arts. This class is a very basic class in terms of what we cover for martial arts. We are really just covering the stances, the punches, and the kicks. I come from a background of Shotokan and Kempo, so those stances, punches, and kicks are going to be mostly from that. And then also keeping in mind martial arts in terms of boxing as a martial art, or any other type of striking martial art that's out there. So maybe within the confines of the class, we'll get into elbow strikes or knees, something outside of your traditional punch or kick with your foot or your fist. But generally speaking, stances, punches, kicks. The purpose of this class is to really focus on those fundamentals. This is the foundations, the ground level. So there's an argument to be made. There's the philosophy, respect, philosophy, I won't say respect, but philosophy, history, all that as a foundation. And that depends on what path you go through with studying martial arts or experiencing a lifestyle of appreciating martial arts. But this is one part of it. One part broken into three parts. So punching, kicking, and stances. We will start with stances. We'll start with a horse stance, and then we'll teach you a forward stance. We'll focus on the forward stance, and then we will incorporate some punches. We'll learn how to punch a little bit. Then we'll practice our punching in our stances. We'll work on moving in our stances, moving around from a stationary positioning into other positioning. We'll work on kicks and kind of try to tie some of that together in this one, introductory class. As we move forward, we'll keep practicing what we learned here in this introductory class, and then we'll develop those once we get stronger, add more into it. So now we'll add kicks into our stances, add more stances. So we'll go into a back stance, we'll go into a cat stance, we'll go into moving around when you would use those stances, using different strikes, punches or kicks with those stances. We'll learn back kicks, side kicks, roundhouse kicks, jump kicks, punches, back fists, and then again, as we get through and maybe it comes up, we'll look at elbow strikes, knees, all the other fun stuff. And then just, having fun, learning different ways to move our body, learn the mechanics of it all, especially with the stances, really understanding how our hips and our neck and our knees and our ankles and our shoulders and joints, all of them can move, and the range of motion that we have, and the strength and our weight distribution and all that jazz. So it's a great opportunity to really reconnect with your body. Just take a hour out of your day to just focus on you and making your body do what you want it to do in the moment. So enjoy the class, and I can't wait to see what you can do. A strong foundation
is the key to every martial arts movement. In our Foundations of Martial Arts course, you'll master stances that build power, balance, and endurance. Whether you're blocking, striking, or moving, strength starts from the ground up. Find your strength. Learn the stances. Begin your training today.
Hello, and welcome to this Martial Arts Foundations of Defense class. This is a follow-up class to the Foundations of Martial Arts class. So within that Foundations of Martial Arts class that we offer, you'll learn your punches, your kicks, and your stances. So with that and learning how those work together, that gives you enough knowledge to come into this class, which is the basically it's the Foundations of Defense in Martial Arts. And that is a defense in where we'll teach you the basics of that. So what kind of blocks there are, we'll teach you how to protect your head with blocks, how to protect your body, what types of strikes that you'll have an understanding of from that Foundations of Martial Arts class. You'll have an understanding of how attacks approach. That's all we focus on is the offense and the attacks. So now in this class, you'll know how you attack. So now you'll be able to be prepared to, all right, so I know how this punch is coming at me. You'll have a better understanding of how to either evade or block, what to do with that as you learn in this class, as we teach you the different blocks or parries or movements. We'll teach you how to work with a sparring partner, not full contact sparring, but moving around with the partner to understand that footwork and that comes with defense. We'll work on incorporating the blocks into your stances and which blocks work well, what kind of stances support you against different attacks. So it's very, very much, again, a foundations class with a lot to learn, though. That once you have taken that Foundations of Martial Arts class, you'll have enough knowledge of the concept of offense in order to learn how to defend against it. So I hope you enjoy the class, and I look forward to seeing how you do.
A punch is more than just a strike. It's precision, control, and focus. In Foundations of Martial Arts, you'll learn how to punch with power, accuracy, and purpose. From corkscrew punches to hammer fists, every movement is taught with precision to help you build skill and confidence. Master the art of the punch. Join the training today.
Hey there. Welcome. This is the Foundation of Martial Arts freestyle class. So this is the third class in a series of classes to build upon the foundations of martial arts. So the first class is offense related. So we deal first with stances, which isn't necessarily offense related, but we start with stances. Then we do punching and kicking. And then we have a defense class, which is Foundations of Defense, where we teach some parrying, blocking, moving, evading, defensive tactics related to the offense that you learned in the first class. And then this third class is freestyle. So we're bringing it all together, bringing in the offense and the defense to play with it, really, you've worked hard to learn it, and this is your class to go ahead and develop it. So in many martial arts, there are forms and katas that are learned. They're prescribed and they're built out, and we can learn those as a start, as a template, so we understand what we're doing, so we can look at some of the most basic katas. And in a lot of martial arts, the most basic kata is typically the same kata, so we can certainly do that, which will bring in everything, and then we'll add in some blocks as well. But after that, what we can do is work together to create our own, and that's always fun to do, to bring our creativity out, really show off what we're good at, and enjoy what the other people are good at. Enjoy watching other people flourish and thrive with what they know. So really welcome you to work hard in the first two classes, so you have the opportunity to take up this class and really have fun with what we learn.
Every kick begins with balance, control, and timing. In our Foundations of Martial Arts course, you'll develop powerful, precise kicks that maximize speed and stability. From front snap kicks to spinning back kicks, you'll train to strike with both strength and agility. Train smart, kick strong. Start today.
All right, so this is the Foundations of Martial Arts class. This is the first class in which I will show you how to do a couple stances, show you how to throw a punch, and show you how to throw a kick. And classes after that will develop these basic skills and learn to do more variations of each of those things. So thank you for joining, and let's get right into it. So the horse stance is the first stance that we're going to learn how to do. And the horse stance looks like this. Now, we can be at different degrees of depth in our horse stance. So this is a deep horse stance, not as deep as you may see people go, but certainly deeper than others go. So this is closer to a more traditional Shotokan horse stance. When I did karate, learning it growing up, I used to try to get down into as deep a horse stance as I could get into, and really sink down and feel that power go through. When I started learning Kempo karate, I found that the horse stances were much higher in a lot of the things, in demonstrations and everything. And then across other martial arts, depending on whatever the purpose is, the stance could be at varying widths. So in this class here, I'm going to say go with what's comfortable for you. If you've never done a horse stance before, or you're not that flexible, or you're strong, you may be higher. If you're coming to this class just to work yourself out, and you're comfortable with horse stances, I recommend you try to go deeper, just to see if you can strengthen your horse stance. Use this as an opportunity to grow stronger with it. In any case, what we want to do is focus on our weight. So if we stand up straight and we let all of our weight just drop down into our feet and feel ourselves rooted down and balanced in this one spot, we can kind of feel balanced and know where the weight is. So we have to really just picture that weight dropping down, and anchor your feet to the ground. And on your anchored feet to the ground, consider that you've got essentially 3 anchor points on each foot. So on my left foot, my first anchor point is my heel. My second anchor point is right up at the top knuckle of in between my pinky toe and the other toe next to it. And then my third anchor point is right at that top knuckle in between the big toe and the toe right next to it. So all 3 of those points are anchored down into the ground. That's where my weight is going into on my left side. On my right side, I imagine I've got a line going down the middle. My right side's got all that weight covering this side of my body going into the identical points on my right foot. So as I sit there and I feel all of that weighted down, I know where my center is, and I can feel it heavy in my feet. And at my ankles, I can start to balance out the weight of the rest of my body. And I feel that balance come to my knees. I keep that balance so that the weight's distributed all the way evenly across those 6 points. And then my hips, and now what I want to do with my hips, I want my hips to turn forward. So I want them to tilt forward. So just tilt it up and try not to flex your stomach. That's not what you're trying to do. Try to keep your stomach loose and just turn your hips forward and just keep feeling that weight go down. So now you've got a separation between your bottom part of your body and your top part. And now what we want to do is kind of straighten our back. So we're going to keep feeling that weight down and keep our hips rotate forward. We're going to extend up so that we're as straight as possible. Bring your neck and feel that weight straight down all the way through. And what we're doing here, we let our shoulders comfortable, relax. If they feel tight and you need to loosen them, just roll them a little bit, but keep that weight. Your shoulders are independent of your body. Roll them back, roll your shoulders just back, and then let them hang back. Like you don't need to actually push them into your pocket, but make them feel like they're gonna fall into your back pockets. And just hang there. And try to straighten your back some more. And extend from your waist all the way up to your sternum, and then from your sternum through your neck up to the top of your head. The weight's still there. Take a deep breath in, and then exhale. Good, and then just relax. Let your body kind of sink a little, melt. Keep that weight. Feel it just all at the bottom. Loosen up. And then step out. So, shake out your ankles a little bit. Roll them. What you did there was find your balance. You felt your balance, that weight distributed on your feet, through your feet. Do those 6 anchor points. So, horse stance. And when we get into the forward stance, to be similar, but we're focusing on the horse stance now. Horse stance, you're going to try to find that same set of focus. So, to that end, we're not going to start going very super far out, because at that point you're doing a bit more in the horse stance. We're going to be gripping the floor a little bit more, so the focus isn't going to be quite where we want to be. What we can do though is go maybe a little bit shoulder, a little bit more than shoulder width out to kind of get a stance right. If you've not done this before, then it's going to be, it could be more difficult than you expect it to be. So we'll be a little bit careful as you go if you're by yourself. One way to get your measurements, if you're not sure as to what's a little bit more than shoulder width apart, you're not sure about it, you don't have anybody to guide you, we can use our feet to guide ourselves out. So we'll 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are our feet doing that. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you do that, this is a average stance, I would say. This is you're partway there. And then if you start sinking down into your horse stance, whoops, and that's me not balancing. So, but what I'm doing now that I'm kind of locked in here, I'm focusing on my weight coming down into my feet, into those 6 anchor points, and then working my way up from there. My hips are turned up, my butt's underneath me, my back's up straight. So, as I do this, I want to make sure that my knees aren't awkward or uncomfortable or in pain. They're going to be essentially straight. Not necessarily a 90-degree angle, but they're going to be kind of straight, and they're going to be over your ankles for the most part. You don't want them way out to the side, that's where you're going to put pressure, and you don't want them coming inward. So they're going to be pretty much over your ankles, and you should not feel pain in your knees as you do this, or your ankles. You may feel pain in your muscles, on your quads, your glutes, and your hamstrings as you go through, perhaps even down to your calves a little bit. But as you start feeling a burn, if you're just starting to do this, stand up, take a little break, and then shake out your legs. So this might be a good time to go ahead, grab some water, take a little walk around, stretch a little bit, and then we'll come back to it and then go through a little bit more. So once you are done with your break, come back to it. We'll look at this horse stance again. You've got the structure where you're supposed to go be with it. So we'll work on like moving a little bit in that horse stance. Just so you're getting into the horse stance, getting comfortable with coming down into that same position each time. So we will do that by starting, I don't want to get off frame here, but we're going to basically crab walk our way from one end to the other end and then back again. So we'll start in our horse stance. If you need to walk it out, go ahead and do that. But we'll go here and then we'll up and then down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And I've run out of room here, so I'm going to rinse my way back. I'm going to come back the other way just so I'm getting a little bit of a workout from the other angle going through. So we go down here, up, down, up, down, up, up, down, up, down. And if I had a partner with me, what we could do is pass a medicine ball back and forth as we went. So if I had the medicine ball in my hand here, I would go pass it, and then I would go up, down, pass it, catch it, up, down, pass it, catch it, up, down. And we're going at my pace. On the way back, my partner would start it and we'd be going at their pace going back. So after you're done with that, go ahead and take a little bit of a breather, drink some water, stretch out a little bit, and then we'll get back to it. Once you're done with all of that, taking your rest, we will look at punching. So with punching, the first important thing is to make sure that our fist is strong, tight, and solid. So we want to make sure that we can ball up our fist like this. Our thumb is on the outside of our knuckles for this punch. And it's essentially making a club. So I've locked this wrist in pretty solid, and my arm is now a club all the way through. We want that straight so that when the impact is made, the force goes through the forearm and not off to the side where it could accidentally bend and break your wrist. So with our punches, we've made our fist, and the punches that we're going to do are going to come from our hip. So these are corkscrew punches, and our target when we're punching shadow boxing into the air is going to be where our solar plexus is. So the punch is going to travel from our hip here to our chest in front of us each time. The path of the punch will be in a straight line. So we want to get it here, and we're coming out to here. So that straight line is going to come straight here. The last part of the punch, we're going to bring it. That's where we're connecting. And the last part of the punch, because it's called a corkscrew punch, because we're twisting and we're turning our fist over at the very last minute like a corkscrew, and that's adding a little bit more impact to it. Physics. So here to here, straight path, turn the fist over. We'll start doing this before getting into a stance. We'll do it just standing up. So we'll take our hands here, and we'll put them both on our hips. So we're making fists, both, and we're going to keep them tight as we can. And our elbows, we want them to come back so that it's triangles coming in the arms. And the reason we want to do that, we're going to consider this as another strike. So here, this retraction of the fist, this is an elbow strike. So just remember that. Right now we're not going to focus on it, but that's why you want your elbows back like that for these punches that we do in this exercise. So I'm like this, and I want to punch forward, and I'll bring it back. Forward, bring it back. Forward, bring it back. Forward, bring it back. So now I'm going to do it with my right arm. Forward, bring it back. Forward, bring it back. Forward, bring it back. Forward, bring it back. Turn around so you can see it on this side. Forward, bring it back. Forward, bring it back. Forward, bring it back. And then one more time, I'll show you with the left side. Forward, bring it back. Forward, bring it back. Forward, bring it back. So now we're going to go ahead and do that from a horse stance. So we're able to focus on keeping our stance and also keeping our punches straight and easy. So if we go down in a horse stance and we take our fists, put them on our hips like so, and then we'll start with our left hand, and we'll go forward, bring it back, forward, bring it back, forward, bring it back, forward, bring it back, and then with our right hand, we'll go forward, bring it back, forward, bring it back, forward, bring it back, forward, bring it back. So now what we can do is alternate. So let's stand up, take a little bit of a rest on our legs, and then loosen our hands. If you've been holding them pretty tight, they're maybe white knuckle in it, just stretch them out a little bit, shake them, loosen them up, clamp them, roll your wrists, roll your ankles, bounce around, get the blood flowing. Good. All right. So now we're going to alternate the punches. So we'll be going 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So now we're going to go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So I just did the slapping just to indicate that's the end of that round. We're not going to actually open our hands and slap our hips. So we get down here, make our fists, lock and loaded, and then we go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And if you're having trouble with the alternating, think of it this way. So start with your one arm out, your left arm out, and then as you pull back, imagine that there's a rope pulling your other fist forward. 2. And then you don't need to pull that rope again, you just bring it back. So 1, rope pulls, 2, and then just pull it back. 1, rope pulls, 2, bring it back. So if you're having a problem with that, try thinking about it that way. But otherwise, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Good. And then we'll start with our right hand. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Good. All right, and we'll stand up. We'll shake it out. Alrighty. So we have now done the horse stance. We've got our basic punches going on. Now we're going to go into a front stance. We're going to a front stance in order to get us to a ready stance, in order to get us to a kick, a front kick. So the front stance is going to be taking a leg and putting it out front, and then taking the other leg and putting it not out front, which is why it's called the front stance. Not really. You're facing forward. You're facing front. So you might hear it called a forward stance or a front stance. There's probably some other names for it as well. But basically what you want to do is square up forward. So if I'm going to use this line as my guide, I'm going to have this line be the center, have one foot a little bit to the side, and the other foot about the same distance. You want your base wide enough so that you have some stability. You're not wobbling one way or the other. So if you picture it, if I'm trying to walk a tightrope, I've got not very good stability. But if I spread out my stance, if I spread the space, I've got much more stability. So what I want to do is make sure that my front leg, my knee is over my ankle and I can't see my toes. So it should be my knee should be covering my toe if I'm standing straight up. My back straight here, my hips should be turned forward. There we go. My belly button should be facing forward and I can kind of sink down. Right now this stance feels a little bit narrow to me, too short. So I can push this back leg out. I want my heel on the ground though, and I want my foot facing forward. Not necessarily like in a parallel line. We can have it out to a little bit of an angle, but it's not going to be out at a 90-degree angle. Try to bring it as forward, but as comfortable as possible. So we can bring this back a little bit, and then we're into our forward stance here. So we can settle into it, we can let our weight go down. The weight distribution here isn't going to be even on the back and the front. We're going to be mostly on our front with maybe about 30%, 30 to 40% in the back. Not necessarily coming down onto the heel and anchor points that we discussed in the horse stance. So we can bring that up and then shake out the leg, walk around a little bit. Whew. And then we can switch. So we had our left leg forward the first time, put my right leg forward, and same deal. Work into it. Turn our hips forward, belly buttons forward, weights driving forward. That's pretty solid. So if somebody's going to push on me from the front, this stance is going to be a good deterrent. My back leg's going to block a lot of that coming through. There's a lot of stability here. Versus the horse stance where if somebody pushed me from the front, I would go right over. However, if somebody pushes me on the side, I've got that base that's going to hold me up. So that is the front stance, the forward stance. Now if we go to a shortened version of that, we get the ready stance or the fighting stance. But basically we're taking here and we're cutting this in half and we're coming up here. So we can bend our knees, we can move around, we can shake our hips, we can walk a little bit. And then if we wanted to lift our feet, we can do that. And we can move around and we're ready. We're ready to fight. So ready stance, fighting stance, however people want to call it, and we can switch to one foot or another foot in the front. But this is far more motion than the other stances that we've had. We're not going to be worried about moving around like that in this class. What we will do though is start from a ready stance, stationary. So if we're here, I can move whatever, and what's important for that is I can move this back leg forward to throw a front kick very easily. I can move this forward leg to throw a front kick as well, but we're not going to do that in this class. So we will, first of all, look at our stance. So we've just taken our forward stance, half the distance, and now we're at our ready or fighting stance. If we're going to do this kick is going to come from here, my foot, and then it's going to come out here in front of me to hit the invisible person in front of me at about the solar plexus as well. So we punch with our punches, and we're hitting the solar plex level. So now we're going to throw our kick to hit that same level. And how that is going to travel here from this point to that point out there is going to be led with the knee. So the knee is going to be the first point that you're striking with. You're not going to actually hit that. The target's going to be too far away for you to hit it with your knee, but it's going to be the targeting point. Your strike, your knee is going to be driven, it's going to be aimed with this part of your body. So your hip is going to be what's going to be aiming your target. So your muscles here are going to be driving this knee forward. So you can see it here. Like if I didn't have, you can see this has to aim where that knee's going. So this brings the knee up straight in front of me. And now the final part of the kick is extending it out. And we can put it back down. So first we think of the knee. And then we want to make sure that we're putting our foot back down in the same spot. We're not going to worry about the extension yet. We're just going to worry about knee, and then we want to put the foot down in the same spot. If you are having trouble consistently bringing your knee up and then setting it back down, what we can do is put a marker for you to hit every time. So excuse me. If balance is your issue, that is an easy fix. What we can do is put your foot on one marker, and then we will put our foot on the other marker. So this is our ready position. Not quite right. see here. So what you'll do is put your first marker down, put your front foot on there, and then get into a position that you like. This is where I want it. See where my foot is. Now let's put my marker there, and that's a good estimation. So now I can do this exercise and be comfortable at correcting myself and knowing where I actually want to go. So here I go. 1, down. I look, and there. 1, if I want to, I can look back. If I'm not comfortable yet, I can keep looking. That's fine, because we'll look at it this way. Right now, the important part is getting your foot comfortable landing back so you can throw another one right after. So if you need to stand there and just kind of work on this, you can do that. It's not a problem. And then, once you're able to look forward and you're comfortable, all right, now you know where your foot is. You know where your foot needs to be. Okay, my knee's coming out in front of me. Good. All right. So now I can, all right, my knee's in front of me. I'm stepping back, landing where I need to land. So now we'll work on the extension. So the extension, we'll bring our knee up and down, up, out, back, down, up, out, back, down. Just kick your foot out there. Have some control with it. Don't just wail it out there. Be able to go up. Whoops. There's my balance. Up, out, back, down. And then, once you get that comfortable with that, we'll go ahead and look at how the foot needs to be when you stick it out there. But for the meantime, take a break, stretch out your legs a little bit, walk it out, grab some water. All right, and if you're done with your break, we'll talk about the foot and how this front kick, how your foot's gonna be. So what we'll do is, I've got my socks just so it's a little bit more clear. Think of the foot as a spear in this case. So if I'm on the ground here and I'm kicking, my foot is sticking up. The ball of my foot is the leading point. My toes are curled back. So as I bring this up, I'm driving that forward. And it's like a spear pushing forward. So if we do that from here, and I kick, up, kick, up, kick, up, kick. And that weight is driving forward. As you develop your kick more, you're actually going to be able to drive more power into the kick by coming up onto your toe with each kick. And then it just goes into moving around and combinations and all that. But that is the front kick. So, and that's how you do that from the fighting stance or ready stance. But we'll switch that up, do that on either side for a few drills, and then call it good. It was a good class. We learned the basics. So you got your punching, corkscrew punch. Start here, end here, turn it over. Start, straight through, start, straight through. Got your kicks. So we're in our ready stance or our forward stance. Make sure that our hips are forward and we kick. So up, extend, back, down. Up, extend, back, down. Up, front snap kick. And then we got our stances. So that was our ready stance here. Our more extended is our forward stance or front stance. We can have our hands up here. We didn't go over that. and then horse stance here. So hope you enjoyed the class. Look forward to working with you some more, developing on the skills that we went over today, and just enjoying our company. Thanks.
The people you train with will shape your journey. In Foundations of Martial Arts, you'll learn from experienced mentors and train alongside a supportive community. Discipline, respect, and perseverance are at the heart of our training. The people you meet will inspire. You will grow, not just in martial arts, but in life. Join a community that moves, learns, and grows together.